Now that we have gained more knowledge on the topics, let us revisit the question raised before: what is the main difference between Chinese and Western philosophies? There are two main points. First, the Chinese do not buy into the idea of some far-off world where all the truth resides. Second, for the Chinese, the truth is not just about logic and reason. Instead, it is all about tapping into the depths of our emotions and lived experiences. Let's dive into this point a bit more. In the Doctrine of the Mean, the second book of learning after the Great Learning, the opening lines go like this: what heaven confers is called nature. Accordance with this nature is called the way. Cultivating the way is called education. That which is called way cannot be separated from for an instant. What can be separated from is not the way. The lines suggest that our true nature comes from the higher order of things or way of heaven, which is like the guiding principle of the universe. Unlike a few rare saints, most of us need education to cultivate ourselves. That is why we strive to walk the right path. We cannot disconnect from the way, as it is intertwined with every aspect of our lives, in every little detail. Life cannot be separated from the way, not even for a moment. For example, even when you are alone in your room where no one can see you, you cannot just do whatever you please. The way of heaven should guide you even then, for you are living your life, in which the way of heaven is omnipresent. Therefore the noble person is cautious in the place where they are not seen, and apprehensive in the place where they are not heard. Being cautious means being aware and careful about your actions even when no one is watching. You should still feel a sense of unease even though your actions do not become public knowledge. Let's talk more about the way of heaven. What does Chinese philosophy consider to be the truth? It differs from Plato's theory and is not solely about rational principles popular in modern Western philosophy. According to the Doctrine of the Mean, truth can be found in the following: when joy, anger, sorrow, and pleasure have not yet arisen, it is called the mean, centeredness, equilibrium. When they arise to their appropriate levels, it is called harmony. Truth is all about what is inside your heart and mind, the full range of human emotions: joy, anger, sorrow, and happiness. They all exist within you, deep down. When you express these emotions, they should be expressed in an appropriate, balanced way, to the right amount and not too extreme. You express them like the rhythm of a beat, and you will be able to find harmony within yourself. According to Doctrine of the Mean, at the core of everything is our emotions, the foundation of everything. The truth is neither an abstract concept or the physical world itself, and definitely not the so-called laws of nature in science. The truth is in our emotions. Each of us has emotions, and it is important to let them out, especially through our interactions with others. Relationships are where all these emotions come into play. When we express our emotions in a balanced and appropriate manner in our relationships, we find harmony, and life falls in line with the natural order. When people strive for harmony and strike that balance, what happens? The connection between heaven and earth becomes harmonious, and everything thrives. That is the essence of the first passage of the Doctrine of the Mean. What do we take away from this? The truth explored in Chinese philosophy is completely different from the truth discussed in Western rational thinking. Chinese philosophy is all about diving deep into our emotions, understanding their standards, and elevating them. China is without religion but with philosophy. Chinese philosophy is unlike that of other nations' philosophy, especially European philosophy. What sets Chinese philosophy apart? It focuses on elevating the emotions we experience in life, taking them to new heights. It centers around life itself. It is not about dry, rigid rules of reason. Instead, it speaks to our own emotions, revealing their truths, and encourages us to embrace and express them in a balanced way. That is the core objective of Chinese philosophy. What does it really mean to have a philosophy focused on life itself? Confucius said, "There are 300 poems in the Book of Songs. In a word, there is nothing but heartfelt feelings." The Book of Songs, comprising more than 300 Chinese poems dating from the 11th to 7th centuries BC, captures the full range of human emotions: joy, anger, sorrow, and happiness. Confucius praised the Book of Songs, stating that it is full of heartfelt feelings or genuine thoughts. It means these beautiful poems capture the essence of being sincere and true to our own character. When we navigate through this world, we do not solely rely on logical thinking skills but our emotions as well, the very essence of our lives. On a different note, Western philosophy places human emotions at a low level, categorizing them as the third tier. The first tier is reason, the second is will, and only the third is emotions, which is too low. This perspective reflects their understanding of life and the world as being centered around logos. In contrast, Chinese philosophy recognizes our emotions as our very foundation, playing a vital role in all aspects of life. If our actions are driven by positive emotions and contribute to harmony and happiness in society instead of causing chaos and calamity, we are using our emotions in a constructive manner with the right approach. What Confucius meant by heartfelt feelings is sincerity. A person who treats everyone and everything with heartfelt feelings is sincere and genuine. Their actions and words reflect their true character, the most essential aspect of self-cultivation or personal growth. We should not think that we can plan our lives based solely on logic and reason. Emotions are always present. It is not just about having moments of joy or sadness, it is about fully experiencing and embracing those emotions. When I am happy, I am happiness personified. When I am sad, I am fully immersed in that sadness. It is not like I have a detached and emotionless core inside me that briefly experiences sadness and then moves on. That cannot work out. Every aspect of our emotions shapes our inner self or heart. When our emotions are in harmony, our basic essence can be revealed, according to Buddhist teachings. Chinese philosophy is a philosophy of life, since its core lies in managing and elevating our emotions throughout our lives. If you are into Chinese philosophy, which I assume you are since you have come this far, when you read the classics of Confucianism, Taoism, or Buddhism, please do not study them the way you do with Western science or philosophy. With Chinese philosophical texts, you do not have to break down concepts, debate their relationships, or do logical deductions. If you do all that, you may miss the point and misunderstand the classics. Some people spend their whole lives doing that, and guess what happens to them? They become scholars. Get this, Chinese philosophy is like a highly personalized DIY life guide for each of us. It is far from a theoretical textbook. If you plan on becoming a lifelong teacher or scholar of Chinese philosophy in a university philosophy department, you may have to engage in those activities such as conceptual analysis. But that is purely an academic approach, totally different from reading for personal growth and cultivation. How do we know when we have gained a deeper understanding of these Chinese classics? Whether you are reading works of Buddhism, Confucianism, or Taoism, you know you really got it down when you become very emotional. You may feel great joy at a passage, but teary-eyed while reading another. Experiencing intense feelings is the key. If you have read the Diamond Sutra 50 times and never shed a tear or felt any great joy, then you definitely have not grasped its true meaning. That kind of joy you feel when reading about Buddhist teachings is called the bliss of the Dharma, which is the happy feelings one experiences upon receiving the Dharma. Have you ever experienced it? Of course, there are some conditions. You have to turn off your phone and unplug the landline, too. You have to approach reading Buddhist texts with the same dedication as listening to an epic classical music masterpiece. So, as you read the Diamond Sutra, when you reach a certain point, suddenly, bam, you feel overwhelmed with joy in your heart. It is a feeling that words cannot describe. In that moment, you gain insight and understanding into a specific aspect of life, not just intellectually, but on a deep, soulful level. You let go of your ego and feel like you have become one with the universe. It is a truly indescribable sensation, just like that saying, only the person drinking the water knows whether it is warm or cold. In other words, one must personally experience the bliss of the Dharma in order to know what it is like. The same goes for reading Confucian classics or Taoist texts. If you do not approach them with this mindset, you will not truly grasp them. If you have checked out Hegel's Science of Logic, you know it is all about figuring out a system of dialectics and making sure each deduction is logically flawless. As you turn its pages, it is imperative that you stay alert and follow along step by step. Skipping just one step will mess you up. Now, aside from its importance in the world of philosophy, do you know what else Hegel's book is good for? If you ever have trouble sleeping, do not stress. Just crack open Science of Logic, and you shall find yourself drifting off in no time. Countless studies have shown that our attention span is limited, and it is impossible for anyone to stay super clear-minded and rational for a long time. So as you read Science of Logic, you will tire eventually. When your mind can no longer handle the intense logical thinking, your eyelids will start drooping as if they are made of lead, and you will soon doze off. This book full of logic is like a guaranteed remedy for insomnia because, let's be honest, it is not the type of reading that gets you all hyped up. Therefore, if you see a child who cannot fall asleep quickly on their own, ask them if they know how to read. If they say yes, you hand them a copy of Hegel's Lesser Logic and ask them to flip through it. Before you know it, they will be snoozing away. That is how Western philosophical works roll. They give our minds a mental workout, training our rational thinking to be thorough and meticulous, kind of like studying math. Chinese philosophy classics feed our souls because they tap into our inner emotions and experiences. You get a certain passage because you have felt that in your own life, but if another passage does not click right away, it is because you have not had the relevant experience yet. Therefore, do not expect to get everything right away. Just memorize it for now, and understanding will come later. The important thing is that you have got this information inside you. There is a Chinese proverb, young apprentice monks recite scriptures without knowing its meaning. This proverb can be used to describe someone who is forced to study and ends up not understanding the material at a deeper level. Indeed, in traditional Chinese education, we start teaching children early, and they end up memorizing a lot of the classics they read. Though in the recent years many have criticized this olden-day method, saying that this method of studying is too robotic compared to the Western approach that focuses on understanding first, this traditional approach is not without its merits. The goal is to know it first and let the understanding gradually sink in as time elapses and one gains more life experiences. By memorizing it first, one is able to recall it from time to time and grow wiser as they grow older. After all, how can you expect to fully grasp the classics of Confucianism, Taoism, and Buddhism as a child? These classics do not involve rigorous logical reasoning. In the case that a text does involve logical reasoning, children can actually learn and understand it better, especially those who are naturally good at math. But no matter how good a child is at logic, they may still have lots of trouble understanding Chinese philosophical texts. Being smart at logic and having sufficient foundation of life experiences are not the same. What is an outstanding trait of written text on Chinese philosophy? These classics involve loads of vivid imagery, metaphors, similes, and other literary devices, rendering them literary value. They do not arrive at an answer via deduction, they just straight up tell it to you. If you do not get it, well, it is up to you to slowly experience and understand it. The ancient sages in China just shared what they saw firsthand, the truth of intuition, whereas Western philosophy leans more towards reasoned truths.